are in beautiful Marysville, in the heart of Victoria's beautiful hinterland. I'm here today with the Suzuki V-Strom 1050 DE. Now, the V-Strom's been around for 20 years. I've been around for 62, so it's been here a third of my life. Can you believe that? It is now a hardcore adventure bike. Now, the V-Strom's probably been like a back pocket player. It always gets a game, but it's probably never going to be captain. Now we're looking at a bike that can probably cope with some off-road stuff, and it's the V-Strom that people have been calling out for. It's the Dual Explorer. There's a whole suite of electronics that have gone into the bike, plus a whole heap of newer hardware. We've belted it around today for a couple of 100 Ks. Nothing too ridiculous. There's 252 kilograms here, and an engine that's been around since the TLS. Remember that?
The new TL1000S Super Twin. Nothing else comes even close.
Much more sophisticated now, but that's the roots of this beautiful engine. So, is this the V-Strom we've been looking for? Is the DE a hardcore off-road bike? Is it now captain of the firsts? Let's find out.
Okay, let's have a quick chat about some of the off-road features and the changes to the DE. There's quite a bit. You get quite a bit of fruit for that extra quid, and over the road-going model. First of all, there's that smaller screen. That works well for me. Perfectly positioned. I can see around it, and it's a bit tougher. It's manual adjustable. You get wider bars. I think they're 40 mils wider. Longer travel suspension at either end. That gravel mode allows a little bit of slip from the rear. Of course, you've got switchable ABS, which you can turn off at the rear, which people like because they can slide in the bike around corners more easily, makes it a bit more manoeuvrable. That longer travel suspension. There's a longer wheelbase as well. There's a bash plate. And also you get a 45 tooth rear sprocket, just makes it a little bit more lively. And a quick shift up and down, which I really like. And it works all right. You can get your foot under it when you're standing up. Quick shift makes a lot of sense on an adventure bike, given that you don't have to muck about with that clutch. And when you're standing up, the fewer things you have to do with your hands, probably the better. So there's a full suite of stuff that really makes sense, and probably the champion of that is that gravel mode. You've got, of course, 3 settings for your engine mapping. They all gain full power flat out, but there's a different throttle response on the way through. So lots of stuff to talk about in regard to extra fruit. That bash plate, that works. Usually when you get an add-on bash plate from a manufacturer, they can be a bit flimsy, but this one's actually, it seems to be aluminium. It covers a wide area, and yesterday when we were running through heavy shale and sharp rock, which the Victorian high country is known for, you could hear it, rocks dinging and banging away off that. I had a look at it subsequent of the day, and it's pretty much unmarked, so pretty happy with that. I must add in probably the king of them all is that 21-inch front wheel. That makes the bike ever so more stable. It's 24,690 right away. Now, that's not cheap and it's not ridiculously expensive. It'll get you a very base model of the high-end prestige bikes, but this one comes fully fruited at that price. The motor's gorgeous. It's hard to beat that V-twin. I've loved it since, you know, the mid-90s, and it's undergone many changes to bring it up to a modern motor, but why change it? The basic guts of it is it's a beautiful motor and it works well in this environment. Against the standard bike, the 21-inch front wheel on the road, you feel it. Turn-in is slower, and a lot of that will have to do with the fact that we have that longer wheelbase. There is 79 kilowatts available to you. and 100 Newton meters of torque. So, you know, if you need more grunt, I don't know what's wrong with you. The surface here is just magnificent, isn't it? Have a look at this. Absolutely beautiful. Loving it. Bit of dust. Let's let the boys move ahead a bit and get out of that dust. It did rain yesterday, and I was hoping that'll hold the dust down a little bit, but we'll see. As I say, this is the sort of thing that won't really challenge any adventure bike a great deal. But yeah, as I say, if the V-Strom is to be a little bit more hardcore, and the DE Dual Explorer is to be that, it's going to need to cope with stuff like this all day, every day. You know, a little bit of slip, a little bit of backing it in if you need to on the rear brake. These things are going to be important, you know. So let's see how we go. Just setting off on day 2, and I have selected traction control 1. Twisties here, and you do feel that extra rake on the DE. It feels a little longer. You feel that 21-inch front wheel on road. It's a little bit slower to tip in, but that extra wheelbase gives it a nice steady feel. It's a bit longer. It doesn't feel like it'll get away. Engine's responsive. It feels like an adventure bike, much more than the road going model, the 19-inch front wheel job. Nice to press on a bit, great road. One that gets your attention. You can't overdo it here. Who wants to? But yeah, some nice feel at the tiller. I like it. Just having a very quick look at these crash bars, which come standard along with that bash plate. Pretty serious bit of kit, and I've put crash bars, aftermarket crash bars on my bike, and it cost me an arm and a leg. So these look pretty solid and fair dinkum. That's the thing about the bike, that it seems to be fair dinkum. This isn't just a cursory go at Suzuki trying to get involved in the off-road market properly. They've had a real dip, and I'm impressed with that. This stuff's solid as a rock. The V-Strom's always been one of the dependable motorcycles, and that kind of has damned it with faint praise over the years. In its 20-year history, it's like the bloke that's always picked in the side every week. Dependable, he'll be there on time, he'll do everything asked of him by the coach, but he's never going to win the best and fairest award. And that's what the V-Strom's been like. It's been Mr. Dependable, priced well, unbreakable, and anytime you go out on a long trip, you will see V-Stroms. They're all over the shop. In fact, there's been 100,000 V-Stroms sold over that period. That's a lot of motorbikes. What I'm trying to say now is, I think Suzuki's listened to the marketplace, added a lot of intelligent off-road focused bits and pieces, namely that suite of electronics and stuff that I went through with you before, and it now gets a game in the senior side. In fact, it's looking to dominate in that space, and I think there's a good chance it will. It's priced on its own, which is intelligent, at $24. Geez, I tell you what, that is priced on its own. $24,690 right away. So yes, what I'm getting at is Suzuki has built a bike that can now hold its head up in the adventure market, or certainly that's what Suzuki hopes. I mean, I'm not here to sell Suzuki motorcycles, I'm here to tell you what I think, but I think they have got this one pretty close to right. It now has a bike that can hold its head up high in amongst the adventure hardware that people are absolutely lapping up at the moment. As we know, adventure is more than flavour of the month at the moment. So yes, we now have a Suzuki V-Strom that is playing in the senior team. There'll be expectations from that. You don't just step up to the senior side and not perform. So there's pressure on this motorcycle for V-Strom and Suzuki, but it's good pressure, and it's pressure that we probably need in that segment. A good Japanese adventure tourer with all the fruit that some of the more prestige brands and more expensive brands have had for quite some time.